once you start getting pretty decent at cold emails and LinkedIn DMs, you're going to get positive replies. And this is going to be a video on how to handle them. So, you can be good at getting replies, but you're not going to make any sales if you're horrible at actually handling the replies. There's a lot that goes into it, like speed to lead, questions to put in your booking link, VSLs, all that kind of stuff. It's more than just sending the cold email, sending the LinkedIn DM, getting a reply, and then hoping they book. Because 9 times out of 10, people are so busy, they're not going to book. They're going to go, oh yeah, sure, and then just forget about it. You have to follow up. So this is going to be how to do that properly. So yeah, notifications. What to do. So preferably you'll be sending your cold emails from Instantly. They connect to Slack with a webhook. Basically, every time you get any sort of reply, positive or whatever, to one of your campaigns, get it sent to a dedicated Slack channel, and then download Slack on your laptop, on your phone, have notifications on all the time, and never be on Do Not Disturb. Do Not Disturb, I mean. And then basically what's going to happen is you're going to get a reply on Instantly, and as long as you have the Uni box, which is the Instantly inbox app on your phone as well, and you're going to get a Uni box notification, an email to your phone, laptop, and then also a Slack message to your phone and laptop. So all the notifications going into it, and you just want to maximize the chance of you seeing that reply has happened, so you can reply within like 2 to 5 minutes and really work on that speed to lead. HeyReach is kind of like the same as Instantly, where you want to get a webhook sending all your replies to Slack. So your phone's going to go off, your laptop's going to go off, and then also have HeyReach pinned on Chrome and turn notifications on. This is what it would look like in Slack if you set up your integration properly. So obviously you get a reply in Instantly. I've got mine set as any reply, not just positive. And then it will send it through a webhook to Slack, and this is what you'll see. This pops up like on your phone, laptop, all that kind of stuff. And you'll get email from Instantly as well if you turn on. This is where you turn on email notifications on Instantly. So basically put this on, make it owner, and you're going to get emails and notifications now when you get positive replies. So if it's a positive reply, like, yes, I'm interested, or like, yeah, I want to book a call, something like that, send the calendar link, like I said, within 2 to 5 minutes. Basically just as fast as you can. So once you send them the calendar link through your cold email service, which is probably Instantly, then you want to get them a LinkedIn connection, or send them a LinkedIn connection on LinkedIn, obviously, pretty soon after you send the calendar link. So you want to get this all done pretty quickly. What I do is I just have an automation where every time I get a positive reply, Instantly sends and basically an API request to HeyReach, and then HeyReach connects to them for me. But if you're not using HeyReach, that's fine. You can just do this manually pretty quickly anyway. You don't need to use HeyReach. But this should be done pretty quick as well. So now after you've sent them the calendar link, you've done a LinkedIn connection, you want to check if they've booked. If they've booked, then that's great. Get their number from the booking, and you want to call using your pre-call script. You want to do this as soon as possible after they book. Now, there's 2 ways to go about closing, especially with outbound. You're not going to close on the first call if it's the first time speaking with them. No one's going to give you $8,000 or whatever you charge, $15,000, $20,000 over a Google Meet, when all you do is send them an email and they book a call, and then you want to get 20K off them. It's just not going to happen. So there's kind of 2 options, and you just want to experiment with it, and depending on your agency, you'll work out which one works for you. I've tried both, and I'm still testing both to see which one's better. Haven't made my conclusion up yet. But here are the 2 ways. The first way you can do it is just, obviously you're going to ask their phone number when in the booking page. I'll show an example. This is an example of a booking page that I'm using. So I get their full name, email address, get their phone number, obviously, company website, how they're getting new work / new clients, and then make sure they tick yes, I'm going to show up at time. This is dramatically reduced no-shows. If they actually confirm, yes, I'm not going to waste your time, I'm going to show up, chances are they're not. But there's still some ways you can go about improving your show rate, which I'll run through in a sec. Once you have their number from the booking page, you have 2 options. Either you call them as soon as possible, or like a day before the call, and you want to run through like a pre-call script where you want to get the intent behind them booking a call with you, and make them logically certain that what you're offering can like fix their problem, and then transition to making sure they're still good for the call the next day or whenever the call is. So basically you'd say things like, So for my agency, I'd say things like, what was your intent behind booking, or what you're hoping to get out of it? 9 times out of 10, they'll say, well, I just don't have enough sales calls at the moment, I want to get more clients. And I'll say, great, like what have you seen that's made you feel like you don't have enough sales calls? And they'll say anything like, well, I'm just not closing enough, so I feel like sales calls would be, the answer to closing more. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then you want to run through what their current process is. So say they're just relying on referrals. Like how long have you been relying on referrals? Do you like it? If they say yes, ask them why they like it. And then ask them if there's anything you could change about the way you're getting referrals. What would you change? They'd probably say something like more predictable or like more control over it. And then they can already start to see that, the more predictable and the control comes from my service, which is running cold email and LinkedIn outbound. You have the control, you have the predictable, you know how many calls you're going to get this week and next week because you know how many you're sending. So like they're already saying themselves, like they're convincing themselves logically that they need what you're offering. And then you want to like really press on that problem. So like how long have you felt it's been inconsistent? Is that having an impact on monthly revenue? Most times they'll say, yes, it is. I'm not making enough money. It's affecting my sleep, whatever. And then you just want to get their goal. So say something like, say like 6 months from now, like where do you want to be in terms of monthly revenue? And say they say $100,000. And then what you've done is on that call, you've got on the intent behind why they booked. You've made them logically certain that what you're offering is going to fix their problem. You've made their problem feel so much bigger than they already thought it was that they're going to be more gravitated towards your offer. And then you've also got on their goal. And you've also made them like familiar with you and like you as a person. So when you get on the closing call, they're more likely to close on that first call you booked because they like you. They're logically certain that what you're offering is going to fix their problem. You've made their problem bigger, so they feel it's a bigger issue than what they previously thought it was. And you've got a goal. So all you can do is on that call, you can start using that goal of theirs to really speak about what you're offering, how you're going to get them to that goal. And then, position yourself as the bridge between where they are now. So they're at $20,000 per month. And then you're the bridge between them getting from 20 to 100K per month. And then if you did it all correct, you'll close. And on the closing call, you also want to make them emotionally certain, because people will make decisions based on emotions mainly, more than logic. So, but yeah, that is one way you can do it. You call them before on like a phone call. Now, you could also run through all of that just on the call you scheduled. And then on that first call, you run through all the things I just said. But then at the end of it, you would say something like, well, I can't, give you a solution right now. I want to go away and think about how I'm going to really help you fix this problem of yours. Are you free tomorrow at the same time? And they'll probably say yes. And then tomorrow is the day you're going to close. So those are two options. You do 2 booked calls, or you do 1 booked call, but you call them on the phone like a day before and you handle some of those, logical certainty, intent, and they're getting their goal on the first call. Or you do on the first book call and then reschedule it again to close them. Right now it's 2:20 p.m. And I already booked 2 calls with cold email, which is great to see. And one of them booked like literally 5 minutes ago while I was filming this video, which is great. So now that we've run through like the options of either calling them before or just hopping on that first call and treating that as like the first intro call. What do you do before that first call, regardless of what you're doing it? You want to send them the VSL that introduces yourself, plus the offer, and also pre-handle common objections. So you want to make like your selling is going to become so much easier if you focus on marketing and like pre-call processes, like your full sales cycle. You're not going to have to do a lot of hard selling if you've really like exposed yourself to them. That sounds weird, but showing them who you are as a person. They can see a video of you speaking. You're on the phone with them before. They're more likely to close in the call. Also, you want to pre-handle common objections on that VSL as well. So like an example of this is, I had, like when I first started doing this, I booked a call with some guy, and I remember he got on the call and he was asking me questions like, oh, like what is this? Who are you? Like, what are you even offering? Like, cause they don't even know. A lot of these guys aren't going to look at your website. They're not. They're just going to book. Obviously, you want to look at your website. I mean, on my website, I have a VSL that explains everything on there, but they're not. So you want to make a specific VSL for people who have booked a call with you, where you run through who you are, what you do, some results, great authority around yourself, the offer, how you're going to help them get to their goal, and then pre-handle common objections. So if you have if you use a call recorder like Fathom or Fireflies, Note Taker, whatever, one of those note takers, take all of those notes, put it into AI and be like, what is the most common objections I'm getting? Take the top 3 and then tell it to give you like a script that you can pre-handle all 3 of them or write it yourself. And basically, like once you've introduced yourself and the offer, you want to start pre-handling some of those objections in the VSL themselves. In the VSL itself, I mean. So when you get to the pitch at the end of your closing call, you don't have to do all this really hard closing stuff and handling objections because you've already handled a lot of them in the VSL before the call. And then of course, send reminders about the upcoming call on like WhatsApp, email, LinkedIn. WhatsApp is great. Check if get their number, paste into WhatsApp. If it says this number's on WhatsApp, if it's not on WhatsApp, then just stick with email, LinkedIn, and calling. But yeah, you want to be sending reminders, set up automations on your calendar service, whatever you're using, like cal.com or like Calendly. Send like 24-hour notifications from the call, and then also have a 2-hour before the call notification. So, if we would call at 3, at 1 p.m., they'll get an email saying, get ready for your upcoming call, whatever. Now, if they didn't book when you first send that link, here's what you can do. It's a bit different, but after this first setting call, it's kind of the same. So you want to get their number using your preferred software. Now, all of the times you won't have to use a software, and I'll show you an example now. So as an example, you can see here that, this guy's replied to my email pretty positively, and he's got his number in his signature. So I don't have to go away and find, I don't have to spend, some credits on Clay or whatever software I'm using. All of the time, people just chuck it in their signature. So if they don't put their phone number in their signature or they don't use a signature at all in their email, use a waterfall enrichment tool like this. You can use Clay. Clay's good, but right now I'm using AirScale. Basically, you just paste in their LinkedIn URL, and it's going to try, I think, 9 different softwares and try to get their number. This is good because not every software, these different softwares have different bits of data. So by using like a waterfall enrichment service like AirScale, you get all 9 in one because, 8 of them might not have it, but then 1 will. I mean, you can call them up using that. Now, once you get the number, you want to call them using like a setting script sort of thing, where you pre-qualify them. I also take some of the stuff from if they've booked script. So I get like their intent behind booking. I get their logical certainty. I make them logically certain. And I get their goal as well of how much they want to be making with the business or whatever, or how many calls they want to be booking, whatever the goals you want to lead with. And then at the end of all that stuff, I'll say like, well, that sounds great. I think I can help you with that. Why don't we get a call scheduled in for whatever, like tomorrow? And we go, yeah, sweet. So re-email them or send them the link on LinkedIn or email, your calendar link. And then get them to stay on the phone and go, yeah, you got it. And they go, yeah, sweet. And then say, pick a time, whatever. And then you want them to book it while you're on the same call as them. So they're actually going to book. And then once they book, just go, yeah, can you go ahead and accept that for me on your calendar? They'll go ahead and press accept. And yeah, they're most likely going to show up. And then what you want to do is send them the VSL introducing yourself, the offer and pre-handling common objections. And then obviously send the reminders about upcoming call on WhatsApp, email, and LinkedIn. So yeah, once they book, you don't need to call them again or do that 2-call thing because you've already had that first call them where you got their intent, logical certainty, their goal, and then you transitioned to getting the book in. You don't need to call them again and run through that stuff again because you already did in the first one. So leave it. Don't do like the 2-call thing and don't do the phone call before. Just try and close in the first call because you already had that first phone call with them. And then, like I said before, VSL and reminders. Now, if they don't pick up, check their time zone. Make sure you're calling them when they're actually awake or in like working hours. Well, obviously be respectful, but these are people who have positively replied to your email. You have to go in with confidence. Like these people have said, yes, I want to learn more. Yes, I want to book a call. Like they've said yes to this. They want to learn more. And if you have a good service and you truly believe you want to help them and you're helping them make more money, then like you're doing them a service by, not pestering them, but like just constantly trying to get them and following up with them on this call. You're helping them out because if you have a good service, they're going to make money from working with you. So have that belief, have that confidence that when you call them, don't be scared. Don't be like, oh, I'm pretty scared to call this lead. What if they tell me to fuck off? Whatever. They want help. They need help. There's a reason they replied to your email. Go and help them. Like I said before, obviously be respectful. Don't. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you are a agency owner or a B2B service company, and you want help booking more sales calls for your team, then I'll put a link that you can book a call with below. Schedule that in and we'll talk then, and you can see me in action running through this with you, calling you and pestering you. So yeah, have a good day.